Can you stop that for a second? You have to do the proper intro.
What's the intro?
Just talk like a normal person.
You talk like a normal person!
All the way from Tokyo, Japan to Toronto, here's another episode of Binder Blunder.
What's up, YouTube? Underworld6667 here with Draco DMD. As promised, we are going to do the ban list analysis.
Yes.
More so, we are going to be talking about what we think is going to be happening next format, decks that are going to be good, decks that you're going to see a lot of.
Yes. I want to talk about Heavy Storm. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about. So, because it kind of covers like 30% of the whole ban list by just talking about Heavy Storm alone. So Heavy Storm makes a lot of people angry by banning it, because then it promotes this, I'm going to set all my back row cards and I'm good to go. But Konami also then made it better by destroying almost every trap card we play.
For the longest time in the past recent formats, there hasn't been much trap cards anyway. Mermails didn't play much, Dragons didn't play much, Spellbooks didn't play much because
they're too busy OTKing you.
Yeah.
It creates a fear like before, and they tried to ban it before and it ruined everything. But this time, we don't have Solemn Warning at 3. We don't have triple bottomless, we have 1 bottomless now. And we lost Solemn Judgment. We lost a lot of things.
Compulse went down to 1.
Like that, oh, that makes me upset.
Deep Prison went down to 2. Torrential Tribute went down to 1.
Yeah, so we've lost a lot. Oh, and okay, Dimensional Fissure, Macrocosmosis, Soul Drain. So essentially, any cards where you would have got a plus off Heavy Storm have been limited and destroyed anyways. So it won't happen anyways. In turn, they're going to promote you to Synchro more into Black Rose and so on in replace of your Heavy Storm.
They're going to make you use monster effects, spell in old traps.
Yes.
Or new traps in that. I mean, they've got a Bujin archetype where it mainly involves graveyard manipulation as well as your hand. So what's the point of having all these trap cards mixed with hand traps and graveyard traps and traps in general?
Yeah, and hand traps is where they want the game to go, it looks like. So that's what they're pushing for, apparently.
Moving right along, speaking of top archetypes, let's face it, dragons, goodbye. And spellbooks, you still have playability, so they could still sell their spellbook cards, but you're not as broken as you want to be.
Yeah, spellbooks are just as good as they were prior to the newest set, right? Spellbooks are just as good as before Tachyon. As well as with the dragons, a lot of people are missing or not paying attention to other cards that also made the dragons more broken, which then in turn slow them down when they're being teched in other decks. Like, Golden Sarcophagus went back to 1. No one seems to care, but that's important, because when you're teching these dragons in every other deck, you lost one of your major searches. Which is good, because Dragunities, on you. Same with card destruction, and apparently everyone and their mother was pissed off about how broken it was in the dragon matchup. But by killing the dragon matchup anyways, did they really have to touch card destruction? I don't think so, because Dark World doesn't do anything.
And very few people play it. Not no one plays it, but very few people play it.
Yeah, and if you notice this list, they hit a lot of power cards that you can only play one of, like Ultimate Offering, Gateway, and Stratos, that are all super, super broken and win you the game. But a card that, again, should have probably been hit for the same kind of reasons and they didn't touch it all is Limiter Removal. It's been around forever, I understand no one plays it, but it's the same kind of shenanigans where you win the game for no reason out of nowhere. So why is it still here? Who knows? Do you know?
So, one of the main cards that we sided in against spellbooks, you know, because they're still sort of playable, was Eradicator Epidemic Virus. With them releasing spellbook kind of support / you know, rehashing out spellbooks, in that spellbook box, they want to make sure that you're not going to be able to eradicate them later.
And in turn, leaving the Exceeds alone that we were utilizing to use Epidemic Virus, right? So instead of limiting all those guys to 1 or whatever, they just said, well, fine, we'll just get rid of the trap.
Now, don't get me wrong, they didn't touch only the top tier decks. They also touched the decks that are going to be coming out. Oh no, but they didn't touch Rooster. Well, they touched Spirit. Spirit was the thing that they used. And Tanky. And in the Mermail matchup, they touched Diva and Dragoons. Not to mention Gold Sarcophagus doesn't work with the title that you're going to be teching in that deck anyway.
And Funny thing, right? How they hit all the super broken cards for all the archetypes, right? But they still didn't touch Rekindling. Isn't that convenient?
Now, Rekindling can be used in the Fire Fist matchup.
It is used in that deck.
So, they touched upon it, but didn't touch it completely.
Yeah, so it's still decent, but apparently dead. Because Spirit at 1 is... Also, they got rid of almost every card that involves you FTKing or looping your opponent for no reason. So all the bounce cards back to my hand to do more shenanigans involving the Gishkis, Constellar M7. They said, goodbye.
Now, they continued on all the way back, all the way to Dino format. They took out Rescue Rabbit and made him to 1. Now, he was teched in quite a few Evil Sworn decks. So, I mean, a +1 out of that, attack, and then 1-for-1, full exceed, kind of unfair.
So you could say they touched Ophion.
Now, we've seen what they've touched and made less broken. Now let's talk about what they're doing to make things more broken. Mizuki and Plague Spreader. We all know Shadow Specters. There are zombie cards coming out. Zombie archetype called Vampires. So, Mizuki and Plague Spreader off the list, or at least at 2. So, it's a good idea.
What I see right now is a mixture between Destiny Heroes and zombies. And I'm going to call it D-Zombies.
D-Zombies.
And you're going to make level 8 synchros all day. Okay?
All day.
And when you draw those extra maliciouses like the old days and you put it back on the top of your deck with Plague Spreader Zombie, you're going to be like, I'm a hero. Because it's so much fun and you know it's true. I don't care what any of you think. It's true.
And we've seen that happen quite often. We had Malicious and we had Plague Spreader at 3 and I think maybe there was only 1 Plague Spreader at that time.
God, no. There was 3 originally.
That's so gross. But anyway, we've already seen that happen. So it's something that's going to be happening again.
Yeah. Which is good. Okay? It's good.
One thing that goes with the Malicious is, of course, D-Draws and Emergency Teleport. So you have quite a few options of going into Synchro level 8s quite often.
Also, which is also really fishy and weird, is they basically gave us back the entire Agent deck that they took away from us a few years ago. They gave us all 3 Earths. Okay? They gave us 2 TG Strikers. What the hell? Because they want you to synchro, okay? They want you to buy you get your tuners back and you want to feel happy. And they're probably going to release some kind of fairy or agent poop as a TCG exclusive in the Shadow Specters set, I promise you. And everyone's going to buy it up.
So Blackwings is a thing. But they're based upon a 1-summon format. They're based upon, I summon, you do nothing, I attack. Or you do something and I Icarus attack you, and then you go and we summon one thing and blah 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 blah. It's a very slow format. They had a shite load of awesome Exceed monsters. They're not going to be as good this time.
Because they're all missing in action. The last major thing that we're going to talk about is the fact that they gave us back the 3rd convocation of their heretics. Which is cool, because the deck... It's a bad deck because it OTKs and it doesn't promote the way Konami wants you to play the game, but they're giving it back to you so you can do it.
But it had no time to shine. The whole thing is
it's not shining yet because the normal monster is not out yet.
But the other thing is Red Eyes
Specters.
But the other thing is Red Eyes Darkness Metal is at 1.
You only need 1 because you make the rank 6 guy and he special summons a dragon from the deck so you don't have to search for him. And then you reborn your monster and you're like, blah, 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 except the guy's 0. It's a long story. I'll tell you one day, kids.
It's a horrible deck. That's why they brought it back. They thought it was
It's winning in Japan right now, and they're using this new guy who comes out in Shadow Specters, and that's why they gave us the 3rd one. That's what they did.
Buy the sets, pretty much is what they're saying.
Also, final thing they did, okay, so the ban list is pretty much an ode to all the Yu-Gi-Oh players who dealt with crap through the years. And the final thing they did to hopefully make all the little losers happy was they gave us 3 scapegoats back. Because everybody wants Go Control. Well, now you can play it.
Officially. One thing that we have to touch upon is, of course, the fact that these ban lists are going to be only valid for 4 months.
You mean the Forbidden and Limited list?
Yeah, that's the one. We are looking at 4 months of this ban list, and then possibly, small changes afterwards. Most likely, it's going to support the next upcoming sets and that kind of thing. They've got tons of structure decks and starter decks and all that kind of stuff to bring out.
When's the Blue Eyes one come out?
Probably just in December or just after December.
That's
so
too late.
Yeah. As always, one thing that I would suggest you not to do is, of course, make binder blunders. Invest all your money into the top tier deck because remember, you only have 4 months.
And
possibly,
remember,
to play it.
he has Trishulas for sale.
$45 a pop.
So you better get on that.
They're unbanned in the OCG.
Those are the fucking